Okay, well, we're coming up toward the end here of the year, and most specifically, we're coming up to the end of what I like to consider, I don't know, chance to make an impact on what you need to sell. The closer we get to Christmas, as we all know, the market kind of shuts down. It shuts down for a good solid 10 to 14 days. Even the week after Christmas, between that Christmas period, is really quite dead all around. Not only on eBay or varieties theirs, which we normally like to talk about on this video, but everything else as well, from graded coins to moderns to Civil War era, the Federal Age, which is like early 1800s, late 1700s, colonials. Everything really shuts down for about 2 weeks. Now, we have a really big show schedule to kick off the year. The Florida United Numismatists show comes up in January. So as soon as New Year's is done, we are back into the show schedule. Now, that type of show kind of kickstarts the entire industry, the hobby. And the things that we talk about here today certainly is affected because of that. But I wanted to take a moment to discuss some of the coins that are selling today, what you can do to make an impact if you need to sell some coins and make some money. Because realistically, I would say we have a good solid 4 or 5 days left in this selling season. And if you need to sell something now, you can't really utilize a 7 or 10 day auction. By the time you get a day or two within Christmas, it wouldn't be feasible to even try and sell anything. You're just not going to realize the full potential of the market if you sell your item 2 days before Christmas. It's just unrealistic. So we're going to take a look at things here on the list. Of course, as we all know, we don't talk about graded coins. In this particular capacity, you could sell any variety and error that you find and come across in change, or something that you cherry pick at a local coin show or a shop, turn around, flip it, make that bank. All right, that's the main idea here. The images you're about to see here today are all 100% original to the listings. Those sellers, they have a wide myriad range of different photography skills, and you're going to see it firsthand, some of the best and worst here today. The bar is set really low, which is good news for everyone. So, make sure that you're aware that you don't have to have the best photography skills to sell coins today on eBay. All right, so a few little odds and ends there. So Whatnot, in case you guys have been hiding under a rock, tomorrow, December 15th, is theoretically my last show of the year. I've done every single year. Usually I do it on YouTube. Last year we ended up doing a holiday giveaway event on the live coin Q&A YouTube channel, which we are going to do again this year on the 18th on our Monday show. It should be a big event. But I'm doing a dual holiday giveaway event. Okay, this one here that I'm hosting on Whatnot tomorrow, December 15th, is the biggest one. All right, this one is at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. It is open 100% to everyone. I am not selling a thing. This is something that I'm giving back to the community, giving back to the hobby, to the new folks, to the veteran folks. We have approximately 40 lots to give away tomorrow night. Come check it out. If you are not signed up on this platform yet, this is by far one of my favorite platforms to sell and to buy on today. And if you haven't done so, I'll have my referral link down below in the description box. I'll probably even have it tagged in the comment section. Go ahead and sign up. Grab yourself $15 and store credit to use immediately. You can pick up 1 or 2 coins for free when I do host my next sale. Now, as you can tell, this is possible last show of the year. due to popular demand. I've had about a half a dozen, 6 to 8 people that have reached out and said, really, are you going to disappear for 3 weeks? Or are you going to do another unsearched wheat scent roll auction? I don't know, but based off of the amount of people that have been requesting one more show this year, I may actually cough up that possibility of doing one on Tuesday, which is the 19th. Let me think about it. I'll let you guys know here in the next, I would say, 24 hours as I get ready for the Blue Ridge Holiday Giveaway event. I really wanted this to be my last show of the year, but if it's really that popular and people want to see more of that unsearched wheat scent roll sale, I might indulge in one more. It's a lot of work, a lot of packaging, a lot of prepping for that show. We'll see how it goes. I'll let you know. Sorry to keep it so long-winded, but I figure I'd let you guys know because there's been a fair amount of just desirability for that to happen again. We'll see. All right, so let's go ahead and check things out here. A nice wide array of coins, nice varieties and errors. These are things that, again, you could find in change. You could cherry pick at a show or a coin shop. If you find them, that's a lot cheaper than what people are buying them at on eBay. Keep in mind, eBay is the biggest marketplace. All right, a lot more people have access to the coins than, say, these things just sitting in a double row box at your local coin show. 1999 Lincoln Memorial Cent. Yeah, this thing's crazy looking. This one is what we call a broad strike error. The coin was struck out of collar, which allowed for more metal flow to expand outwards during that strike. And keep in mind, the amount of pressure that these presses exhibit and force onto a coin during the strike is so incredible that you do get things like this. And when that collar is not present, it's not going to retain the theoretical kind of like shape of the Lincoln cent as we know it today. So this thing is probably larger than a nickel and pretty close to being the size of a quarter. It's that big. And it's in phenomenal shape. There's going to be collectors of these everywhere. $25 is what this one sold for. 1999 is one of the more common dates that you could find this particular error anomaly in. Because they were released in droves in mint-sewn bags from the Federal Reserve Bank. So, yeah, a number of these have escaped the mint. No big surprise, and it's something that I don't think they personally cared when these things escaped. But it's pretty cool to see one here in living color and in beautiful shape. First piece of currency. We do have a few here this week. Not too many, but enough to kind of get your paper money juices flowing. 1993 $1 bill. Now check out the left side of the front of the note, and you're going to see what looks to be an impression of the print of what you normally see on the back, okay? And that's exactly what you're seeing here. This is what they refer to as a back-to-front wet ink transfer, all right? So if you can imagine how a clash die happens with coins, the same can be said with paper money. If a subject sheet is not in the printing area of the press and the impression cylinder and the plates make contact, obviously there's going to be some sort of transfer. All right, and then when the next sheet is fed in there, there's already going to be print on there. You're going to see some of that transfer happen onto that subsequent sheet. This one, pretty robust, although it's kind of a sliver, it's nothing too crazy. These are very collected, depending on the saturation of the transfer and what percentage of the entire note is actually covered in that. This one, although quite minor and small, did sell for $31.45 with 11 bits, so it's not too bad. Pretty nice collectible item, and it's in phenomenal shape. It looks like it was pulled out of a fresh bank strap back in the day, so it's been preserved very well over the years. The next one that we have here, apparently there's a readable date there. It's a 1943 Jefferson nickel. See, it's got that big P mint mark on the reverse above the dome. And this is something that we've seen before. This is a detached lamination. Probably at one point looked more so a clamshell lamination. because half the coin was affected. You can see it goes all the way up to the edge. Yeah, but a sliver of the coin had peeled away and fallen off. Again, laminations occur when there's impurities there in the mixture of the composition of this particular planchet. So when that happens, obviously you're going to get flaking and things like this happen. Pretty nice. It did sell for $19.99, and just the raw kind of base value of a silver war nickel is like $2.15 or something like that. It might be off, but it's pretty close to that value. But this is a common occurrence that we see on not only silver war nickels, but buffalo nickels as well. They seem to be a couple of different kind of date ranges and series that are highly affected by laminations. And the next one that we have here, actually quite minor, but I think this coin probably sold more so for the date and the condition, which is just fine. It's gummed up with some dirt and grease and stuff in the letters and devices of the coin, and you can see that evidently on both sides. It's 1864. This is a bronze. Okay, so this is not the white metal nickel. They did a changeover in 1864. And this one is not the L on ribbon either. It doesn't have the pointed bust on Lady Liberty, and you don't see the L on that ribbon there. This one was pitched and sold as having rotated dies, and it's quite minor. And keep in mind, the era in which these were produced, that rotated dies were nothing really special. We saw it on a lot of coins. There's actually another coin on the list that we're going to talk about that has some pretty wild rotated dies, but you wouldn't know it because the coin, the way it was imaged, they didn't properly show that. But going back to this one here, this is quite minor. It's like a counterclockwise rotation by about maybe 15, 20 degrees. Nothing super crazy. It sold for $94.99. The coin itself is probably a high-end VF 35, full Liberty, very attractive coin. Which typically this is like a $50 or $60 coin, not really putting too much stock in the fact that it did sell for more than that because of the minor rotated dies. Again, this is a common occurrence. It may or may not enhance the value of the coin. Just want to let you know, if you do come across one that's quite this minor, you might be able to make a few bucks on it if you buy it right. All right. All right. I love the way that this seller puts together their images. It's very crisp and clear. They made up the front and back of the notes. A prolific currency seller on eBay, by the way. There's just a lot that we could grab from this particular image here. It's a 1981 $1 bill. Lots of misaligned print here. You can even say that there's some cutting error going on. Look at the front. Obviously the overprint is shifted down quite a bit. The actual second print is cut off in slivers at the top. This thing is a hot flaming mess. And then the reverse of the note, it's got a really wide margin on the right. Could the reverse part of this subject sheet, was that kind of off kilter as well? There's a lot going on here. You can't really pinpoint to any one area as being, well, I'm going to say that it's more of a misaligned overprint than anything else, but we can't really downplay the fact that this thing was miscut as well. You can see that on the bottom image of the reverse. The note is considerably thinner on the left side than it is on the right. So this one's incredible. It's like a dog dish of various errors. It's sold for $89 with 2 bids. And it's very cool. I like this one. And, if this one was picked up very cheap from a show for like 30, 40 bucks, I could see where you could, make some potential and earn a few dollars selling this one. Here's a 1984 Lincoln Memorial set. This one has a pretty clear and present cut die break right above Lincoln's head, covering up the words "we" and "partial trust" on there. So a piece of the die had cracked and fallen out, thereby creating the anomaly you see here, all the metal flow going in one spot, that empty cavity in the die during the striking process will create the raised blob anomaly on these. And keep in mind, cuds start from the edge and they work into the design. One that shows up in the middle of the coin is simply just a die break. It's not a cud by nature. This one sold for $51.99 with 3 bids. Pretty nice one. Again, this one has seen a fair amount of circulation wear, and people are finding these all throughout their change. So, when you do find a cud die break, this is real money here, folks. Changing a penny for $50 is a great magic trick that I think anyone could do if they wanted to. And here's one of the coins that made some pretty big headlines last year. It's actually been about a year and a half or so since this one was discovered. It's the 2022 Philadelphia Wilma Mankiller double-sided retained cuds. This thing was crazy, and we all kind of thought the same thing. How does something like this end up escaping the Mint? All right. Was it intentional? Were they trying to throw out Easter eggs? I don't know, but it's cool nonetheless that something like this did exist out there, and a lot of these were found. They're not particularly rare, but we are seeing less inventory online of this particular coin. Now it's hard to say if this one has like damage on the obverse of the coin. There's like marks and lines and stuff. The pictures weren't that good to begin with, but even in this particular condition, which I'm going to speculate, because it was taken through a 2x2 as well. So it could be that the marks are on the 2x2 and not the coin, but I don't know for sure. The coin ended up selling still for $204.13 with 2 bids. Just real, genuine, nicer examples have settled down to $350 to $400 range, while not $800 to $1,000 like they once were when these were first discovered. Still, $300 to $400 is still a very respectable return on something that you could find and change pretty easily today. And then, of course, Edith Kanaka Ole quarters of this year. This is like one of the big chases for 2023. If and only if you're able to find the ones with the strong clash of Edith's first name on the obverse of the coin. You would normally search the area of George Washington where the ear and the hairline kind of meets. And if you could see Edith's name that normally you would see on the reverse of the coin clashed in this area, and you have at least 50% of Edith's name in there, then good job. I mean, you have a coin that I would say 100% you should turn around and sell this thing right away. This one sold for $99.99. Our good old friend Kelly from Kelly's Treasures came across a stash of a cache of these things. Probably a full bank box with a lot of them in there, and has done really well. And what's really cool is Kelly also donated some of the proceeds of these sales to charity. All right, so some of the price of that $100 was baked into the charity event, but outside of that, as far as like organic kind of auctioned pieces, they've been hitting in that $50-$60 range. This one was a buy it now for $100. And I wish there were more of these out there in this condition. And we got to keep in mind, these things are 23 years old. So when you do come across a 2000p Sacagawea dollar Wounded Eagle variety, these things are quite special. I had the opportunity to buy one that's in really nice condition. That's end up going to PCGS. So I'm excited for the opportunity to see what that thing pops out at. But this is a really nice one here. It's also the FS901 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. When we look up close at the reverse, keep in mind in this area where the eagle's breast feathers kind of meet the wing, we see these raised lines. Okay, these are die gouges on there that are going to end up raised on the actual final product, the coin. So these are not damaged, although some people have tried to replicate it by trying to damage the coin to make it look like this. And keep in mind, there's a distinct difference. The genuine Wounded Eagle reverses will have the raised gouges on the coin. You know, so yeah, keep that in mind. If they're damaged, it's going to be in use, and the damage will be pressed into the coin. $112.99 was the sale price, which is kind of a bargain considering that if it's nice enough, you could flip it in a graded holder and probably make a few $100. You know, that's totally a possibility with these things. And here's a coin that I covered on the last PCMR show. This is a 1970'S Lincoln Memorial Cent. This is a great repunch mint mark. A few little condition notes. This one does have a what appears to be a fingerprint on the reverse. It's got a myriad of different spots and carbon spots and things like that on here. So it's far from the perfect coin. Keep in mind you could find these in circulation, but most importantly, these are also being found in mint sets as well. So make sure you're looking out for this. Here's a little bit of a close-up. The secondary San Francisco mint mark was punched north of the primary, so you can see the double tail up top there. This one sold for $15.49. So it's a readily available variety. They tend to be in that $15 to $20 range, and especially coming out of a mint set. There's a whole lot of them out there, population-wise, that are in mint state condition. All right, what we're looking at here is a lot of 4 2023 Extra V Lincoln cents. So someone said, screw this, I'm not going to sell these individually. I'm going to give someone maybe an opportunity to make a grip of cash, and I'm just going to sell it as a bulk lot. Keep in mind that whoever came across this one did freaking fantastic, because this was dropped onto eBay as a buy it now for $115 for 4 of them. And these things have been averaging about 35 to 40 bucks a piece. So there's already a little bit of a bargain per piece when it's being purchased at $115. And the grading companies are attributing these as extra Vs. So the nicer ones are being sent to PCGS or NGC. If they come back at least a 65 or higher, then there's money to be made there. And this is kind of like the easy, low-hanging fruit money that people are making, is by buying these raw and then sending them off to the grading companies, getting them back, and then flipping them for, $200, $300, $400. It's kind of been a process that some of these folks have been doing. In case you need a little bit of a refresher, there's that little V notch there next to Victor David Brenner's initials at the base of Lincoln's bust on there. So $115, geez, that's a screaming deal. I wish I had been a fly on the wall when I saw this to pick it up. I would have bought the lot without hesitation. Coins and cards, again, throwing up a couple of just really nice key date Morgans. And they're both raw. They're not graded, which makes it easy. We know what we're looking at here. It's far from a gem mint state condition coin. This is a 1892 Carson City. This is a big one here. It's not mint state, but it does have a little bit of luster that's kind of broken in there. I would say this is probably like an AU55 coin. So it's good for maybe an album. You could grade it, sure. It's not going to really promise an extra profit for you. It sold for $885 with 40 bids, so there was a lot of activity here. There's no error or variety on this one other than maybe a nice VAM or something that was never pitched on this sale. It's just a really nice key date. And here's another Carson City from Coins and Cards as well, 1878cc this time around. Not as rare or coveted as the 92cc we just looked at, but still nice. And we could defer on this one as being a coin that is in that AU condition status. This one sold for $370 with 29 bids. Again, this one is slightly better. I'd say this one has a shot at a slider AU58 level, which is fine. It's a great date, and if you have the opportunity to buy one for your collection, this is a good date here because it's one that you don't see pop up that often. 2009, formative years. All right. This is a coin that if you come across in Philadelphia, you need to flip every single one of them around and make sure that you're not overlooking an extra thumb double the die, or the missing log is what they call it. That's a die polishing issue. That was quite common on these. So this one is indeed a doubled thumb variety. This is the FS801. This is the biggest one of the bunch. And this one sold for $14.95. These are, I would say, quite common. You can even find these in the bank rolls that you were able to buy from the U.S. Mint. I know it's kind of an oxymoron, bankroll, U.S. Mint. But they had these in BU rolls. There you go, that's better. That were purchasable at the U.S. Mint. So pretty cool. So here's our other coin that was pitched to having 45-degree rotated dies, although they did not show that here. This one is certainly worth a mention. It's a 1833 Coronet head, large cent. So you wouldn't know that's rotated dies because, again, they didn't image it properly. But check out the doubled profile of Lady Liberty, which is really cool. That is like die deterioration doubling. Quite common on these coins, going all the way back to the 20s. You even see these on cap bust $half as well. And yeah, I mean, it's a really, really nice coin. Nice technical kind of like VF 30, 35 grade. Lots of meat on the bones. This one sold for $158.45. Such a beautiful coin. So double struck Roosevelt dimes are probably some of the rarest outside of like large dollars, And this one is a 1995P double struck. The secondary strike is about 80% off center. It's a uniface. You can see that on the reverse because there's no reverse design on there, which means that there was another coin or planchet that was overlapping this outside of the collar. So this one right here sold for $119.79. There's probably a small community of collectors that actually tackle this by date, and it's quite the undertaking. Here's another one here. No date on it, but we do know it's from the 1900s. And it's clad, so it's probably as new as the other one we just looked at. Another double struck. Without the full readable date, it does affect the value a little bit, but it's quite sharp. I would say it's a nice BU specimen. This one sold for $80.79. And you wouldn't know it by looking at this one, but believe it or not, this coin was struck through a very late stage cap die. All right, so there was a die that was actually attached to the obverse. Just the weakness and the mushiness of the strike on the obverse. There was definitely a very late stage cap on that die. The reverse, very well struck. 1973D, you could actually see the date on there. This one sold for $64.78. Great looking example. It's got a few little nicks and things like that, but if you want an example of a very late stage event of this, this is a good one here. All right, that cap was probably razor thin at this point. And of course, we can't really forget this one. Between this and the Burning Building Tuskegee Airmen coins, we're beginning to see less and less of them on the open market for whatever reason. And here's a 2021 Washington crossing the Delaware quarter. It's a beater, it's got stains and it's been circulated. The edge is a little bit chewed up on both sides of the coins on this one. When we look at the top of Washington's hat, there's we call it a crown die chip. PCGS is now grading these, but not as a crown, but something else. Whatever the name of that hat is what they're calling the error. I forgot what the name is, but yeah, they're grading all of them in various stages. This one right here, you can see, goes into the E of E pluribus unum. Sold for $18.99. So it's still not too bad. These things are kind of waning a little bit. A lot of them were produced. They escaped the mint, obviously, with no problems. And, a lot of people that did want these ended up getting theirs very early. And that's why prices have tailed off quite a bit. This seller had like 5 lots of 5 off-center struck Lincoln cents. All right, so just want to let you know there could be an opportunity to flip these. Not too much of an opportunity because all of the off-center coins that this seller had no readable dates on them, and they were all copper-coated zincans too. So not the most desirable as far as as far as the age and all that. But yeah, you were guaranteed 5 nice BU examples for $79.88. So I don't know, what was that, $15.75 a piece or something like that. Not too great considering that these generally sell for 15 to 20 bucks a piece. So very minimal opportunity here. 1994 Lincoln cent. This one is the seller called a partial collar and an indent as well. There's no brockage on there, but this is a direct result of what happens when 2 planchets were inadvertently overlapped on top of each other, and then the coins were struck outside of the collar. So if it's a blank, it's going to leave an empty, designless area on the coin, and it's kind of generic, but that's all they call it, is an indent. And this is a prime example of that. $90.99 is the sale price on this, which is a lot higher than what a lot of other ones have sold for. It might just be the size of the indent that I think really appeals to the market. Now, we don't talk about silver that often, but this is worth a mention, right? Every coin is worth a mention in this video, but this is a crazy one. I actually own a few of these EMC Engelhard bars. And check that out. The serial number is missing at the bottom front edge of the bar, which it's usually under the Engelhard logo. Guess what? It was punched upside down here on the EMC Globe logo. So that is the bar was upside down when it was put into the serial number punching machine or whatever it was, and yeah, it put the serial number in upside down. So, I mean, what's an Engelhard 1 ouncer going for these days? They have a hell of a premium. They're like $35-$40. They're just popular, and it's way above what silver spot is today, which is like $23 and some change. But you're never going to guess, because of the fact that serial number was punched upside down on the bar. This thing ended up selling for $358. So, just to let you know that some of the older vintage type bars, the more popular ones like this, Johnson Matthey and a few others, if they have these funny mispunched anomalies or something to that effect, that makes them highly collectible. So if you do come across something like this at a shop or show, and the dealer just doesn't give a crap, wow, you could really sling some extra money off of this thing. 1908 Indian head cent, misaligned dies is I think what we have here. I mean, it looks like that on the front. Quite a bit of a thick rim there. It's a little deceptive because on the reverse you also have a little bit of thickness too. It could actually be a broad strike, a very minor one. This one sold for $31.25 with 15 bids. And of course, one of my favorites, a big one here this week, 1984 Lincoln Memorial cent, doubled ear variety. This is a doubled die obverse. It's the FS101. I mean, you can easily see the extra earlobe right there. Right placement, it looks right. It's 100%. This one ended up selling for $142.50 with 8 bids. It's a beauty. It's a good looking one here. This one is actually in one of these holders, and I couldn't help but notice that double die, they left out an extra D in the word double. It's supposed to be doubled. Anyways, it's like, if this was a capital holder, shame on them. They should have got this right the first time around. 1867 3-cent nickel. All right. Not too popular, but, some people do like them. This one is, I consider it to be like a fine 12. Nothing too crazy. And it's a decent kind of like made for type cheapo 3-cent nickel. If you'll notice there on the obverse on top of the word states, there's actually a cud die break, right? That's a common event on these, same way as the 2-cent coppers, and like the shield nickels as well was another one. Indian head cents. So there's something about this era where there's a lot of broken die issues. This one sold for $50. Okay, and I'm fine with that. That's right around where something like this is worth. Good one here. Check out your crap scrap silver 1950 S over D over mint mark Washington quarter. Always a good one. This one actually is the S over D is what they call it. But when you look up close to the mint mark, yeah, you can see the Denver mint mark right here. You can see the top left serif of the Denver mint mark, and then the bottom, kind of like the little tip right there. Cherry picker's guide variety. I mean, what else do we need